Hey everybody, Tony from Destination Pro Wrestling back with a new video, and today I'm going to ask that you guys tighten your seatbelt, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because we're going to talk a little bit about something that I feel is important, and I think this is important for a lot of reasons. And you know, this is not pro wrestling news, this is not gaming news, but more so an open dialogue, an open conversation that I want to have with the pro wrestling gaming community online, especially on YouTube. So if you guys don't know who I am Tony from Destination Pro Wrestling, and I like to make videos on pro wrestling, whether it's pro wrestling news or pro wrestling gaming or live streams, whatever it may be. I like to just kind of, you know, I like to suspend belief for like 2-3 hours on a Monday night and watch wrestling and then talk about it. And thankfully, we're building a community here where you guys like to do the same thing and you guys like to engage. So I do that. I do that here on YouTube, and then also on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that cool stuff. So all those links will be in the description. I don't want to plug too much of that stuff. And this video really isn't like a bad thing either. I just kind of wanted to have a conversation because I feel like, you know, just a few months ago, we saw WWE 2K19 get released. And I don't know if I still see the same excitement level as I did, obviously, prior to the launch. Now, for me personally, just to kind of give you guys some backstory, I know recently I haven't been uploading a lot of WWE 2K19, and the main reason for that is just specifically because I'm going through some setup changes, you know, when it comes to actually creating like gaming content and stuff. So the lack of WWE content on this channel, or WWE 2K content on this channel, actually has nothing to do with my experience with the game. So I do want to tell you guys this is actually a good thing, because I still enjoy playing WWE 2K19. I still play it pretty regularly. So I would say for the most part, it's actually been a pretty good experience. But obviously there's been a lack of WWE 2K content on the channel, and we're going to kind of talk about the game, you know, and give you guys a real genuine opinion on what we've seen thus far. Now, I got to tell you guys the truth. I'm going to try to be as balanced as possible. I think there's a lot of good, but there is some bad. So I want to be open and I want to be honest, and, you know, hopefully you guys can tell me how you feel in the comment section. And, you know, things that I think are good may not be things that you think are good, and things that I think aren't, you know, that aren't that good, things that might be a little bit bad for the game, you guys might think is awesome. So try to just, you know, keep an open mind to what I'm saying and realize that we might have a difference in opinion, but, you know, I'm always open to hearing people explain how they feel, especially in something like this. So WWE 2K19 came out in October, and honestly, it wasn't a bad release in my opinion. Now, I don't know about the numbers. I don't look at these things. I don't care about how many units were sold. I don't know how many copies were sold or how many were given away or whatever it may be. Prior to WWE 2K19 coming out, I was doing a lot of stuff on the channel. So thankfully, WWE 2K19 is how we rebranded the channel to Destination Pro Wrestling, and we saw immediate success. So because of WWE 2K19, viewership was very high. We gained, you know, like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, you know, and this is like within a span of a month, and then obviously tons of views and engagement and everything. So as far as that goes, I saw a really nice return on my time investment into WWE 2K19. Now, the reason why I did that is because I've been doing, you know, YouTube for several years. Anybody who knows me knows that I've had several channels, some that were big, some that were small, but I've always been like a pro wrestling WWE guy on YouTube. And for the longest time, my channel was on limbo because I stopped, you know, I deleted one channel, got a new channel, and I stopped caring about WWE. Obviously, there's a reason for that. So I came back, I rebranded to Destination Pro Wrestling, started bringing daily WWE 2K19 coverage, and things were going very well. So because of all that coverage and some of the connections that I built to 2K, I did receive an early copy to produce content. Now, I have to say, full disclosure, I don't get paid by 2K or anything to produce content for them, nor am I big enough to really have that sort of influence to sway people one way or another. But I do let people know this because, like I said, we might have a difference in opinion, but I'm always going to be very honest. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you guys how I feel about the game several months later and whether or not you should buy it if you have yet to pick it up. So For me, like I said, I did receive the game early. Shout out to 2K. I mean, they've been really good these past few years about accommodating creators and, getting an early copy to a game. For me, what it really meant was I really had the chance to sit down and dive into the game and see what was being done, see what was being offered, and seeing what was new. For me, I kind of had an open idea as to what the game was going to be like, because some of my other YouTube friends had actually got to play the game even earlier, when they went to a playtest. Now, to kind of give you guys a backstory, I went to the playtest in 2016. I did the red carpet event at New York, SummerSlam, and I got to play the game early there. So I kind of had an idea of what to expect for 2K19. Now, this is where things got really, really interesting for WWE 2K19, because prior to the release of the game, the marketing was very, very different this year. So for anybody who paid attention to NBA 2K or WWE 2K, you would know that a lot of the news and information didn't come straight from 2K until about a month prior to its release. And this was problematic for a lot of people, and more so a lot of creators on YouTube probably had an issue with this, because if they produce gameplays or news or anything or any sort of coverage for WWE, they were pretty much left out in the dark for a really, really long time. And there's a couple channels out there who solely rely on that kind of content. Now, for me, I've always tried to keep a balance between pro wrestling news, gaming, live content, reviews, podcasts, opinion pieces, creative pieces, whatever it may be. But what really started my YouTube career, I guess, if you want to call it that, was the WWE gaming. Like, that's what took off for me on all my old channels. So for me, I felt like WWE 2K19 was going to be a huge step up, especially because I saw how bad 2K18 was. And this is where, it was frustrating as a creator looking at 2K and like they're not posting things for months in advance. And I even said at one point in one video, and I still stand by the statement, I said, maybe it's a good thing 2K did not produce a lot of marketing content for months in advance, because the excitement level would have probably gone away. And what I meant by that is, if you tell me all the cool stuff 5 days before the game comes out, I'm going to be excited, because everything is hitting you rapidly fast, everything that's new, everything that's fresh, things that you haven't seen before. You're telling me right before the game comes out, oh, by the way, this is what we're giving you. Like, I'm going to be excited. If you tell me 6 months prior, hey, we're going to have voice over my career, we're going to have these new features, honestly, unless you could keep my excitement level up the entire 6 months prior to the release, I'm either going to forget or my excitement is going to go away. So WWE 2K19's release started off pretty bad, in my opinion. And that wasn't because the game itself, but it was because of the marketing and how things were done. Again, looking back at it, I was really, really confused. I was frustrated because we wanted to know so much desperately about the game, but we didn't get that opportunity. Obviously, we start getting information, my excitement level changes. And this is where things shifted completely. I started the rebrand for the channel. I start producing content. Things are going really well, and I'm noticing that I'm starting to feel genuine excitement about the game. And for me, sometimes people don't understand this, but they see these videos and they think, oh yeah, they're just being negative. But I always take all the information I get and I try to relate it to you guys in a way that, hey, this may be something cool, this might be something stupid, and I don't know if you should be excited for this, but you have to decide. I'm going to show you, and you decide whether or not you want to be excited. So, of course, there was things that I saw that I was not excited about, and there was things that I was hearing from these playtests and these things that, we're starting to find out about the game that weren't exciting. And it almost seemed like it was a cop-out. So, of course, some of these videos weren't posted, they weren't posted to be like negative or anything, but some people took it as that. And I get it. I understand why, because people are passionate, and especially for a lot of people, they don't buy a lot of video games throughout the year. So this $60 is really make or break for them, when they're buying the game. So they really take these opinions and stuff serious. So that's where things got really interesting, because the marketing, I feel like in hindsight, now I look at it, it was like, yeah, that was a great move. It got me excited right before the release, but then it also had me really frustrated at the time. But this is where things really, really took a shift for WWE 2K19, because the game comes out and we're starting to play and we're starting to see what's different. Now, when the controller is in your hands and you're watching on your TV this game, yeah, it does look and feel a lot like WWE 2K18. But my issue with 2K18 was never its graphical, things, right? Like, it wasn't all about the graphics or the play style. I felt like that's what 2K actually did really, really good with. I feel like they had a system in place where they said, look, this is how it looks. This is probably our foundation for the game, but obviously we're going to look at ways to make it more fun. Now, in the last several years, okay, since WWE video games were taken over by 2K, I feel like 2K was just trying to make a simulation wrestling game. Like, one that you would expect from a company who does really, really well with basketball. And kudos to 2K. They figured out a way to make WWE a very realistic looking game. From the graphics, from the visual, the audio, I feel like they mastered that throughout the years. I feel like they've constantly improved. But one thing that 2K had a very big issue with, very specifically, was making the game fun. So 2K18, a lot of people did not see the longevity last long with that game. For those who had that game, they probably didn't play all year round. Even if their YouTube channel depended on it, it wasn't that great. And I think 2K knew that. And I think this is where things got really good for 2K19. So if you guys are contemplating getting WWE 2K19, if you guys haven't played this game, let me tell you that 2K19 is the perfect scenario for 2K based on all the circumstances given throughout the year, because 2K19 is actually a really fun wrestling game. There's a lot of ways to make the game fun. So I know some people look at it and they're like, there's no GM mode. And I get that. GM mode will probably be a mode that people will talk about forever. And I'm sure the guys at 2K know that. But what's really cool is, when you're playing My Career mode, and there's so much you could do in My Career mode, you typically forget about some of those other wants and other needs that you wanted before, right? Those other things that you just felt like you desperately needed. Well, my attention is on My Career mode. My attention is on, more specifically, the My Player Towers. I can use that and play that for so much longer than I would with GM mode. I feel like, when you really think about it, GM mode or a game mode that's constantly updated with challenges and prizes and things like that, I mean, it's really not hard to answer this, guys. You're going to want something where it's constantly refreshed. It feels like a refreshment. With GM mode, that's not the way it's been in the past, so we can't expect that to necessarily change. 2K19 is a great game, and it has its flaws. More specifically, there are some small bugs that I've seen throughout the gameplay, and they're simple, they're small, they probably won't get fixed, but they don't impact my gaming situation. Like, when I play, I seem to really enjoy the game. More specifically, the $1 Million Challenge and the My Player Towers is enough gameplay to get me settled throughout the week. I don't feel like I have to play for 10, 15 hours a day. I'm good with usually 1 or 2 hours. And sometimes, if I'm live streaming, which this was a really big thing before, but when I'm live streaming, I would notice that I wanted to play a lot more than those 2 and 3 hours. So, 2K had a rough start, but throughout these last few months, the game is really, really good. And for me, what I really, really love, and this is, there's a lot of you guys on YouTube, and some of you guys don't even have YouTube channels, but there's a lot of people out there that have really done a kick-ass job on creating, community creations and using that as a tool. For me, universe mode, I've done some tournaments and stuff like that. We're going to be bringing a lot more 2K content to the channel, but just keep in mind, if it wasn't for some of these guys, I don't know what I would do. And I'll give 2K their props. They've done a really good job with promoting their DLC. I feel like they've done a really good job with promoting the new moves pack. These are things that people are excited about. So, marketing was really weird prior to the game's release. People were scared that this game was going to be a flop. But honestly, I would say this was a massive improvement over last year, and I'm excited about the future of this game, guys. I feel like there's so much that could be done with WWE 2K19, and there's so much more for me to do. I don't feel tired. I don't feel bored about the game, but realistically, you guys have to know something about WWE 2K19. This game was designed to be a improved version of WWE 2K18. The visual components, I mean, it's very similar, obviously a little bit of an improvement, but WWE 2K was going down the wrong direction. And I think this is a start of a new direction and a good direction, one that's actually going to make wrestling games fun. Now, for 2K20, does WWE 2K completely change their platform and say, you know what, we're going to scratch everything and start something new? I would be shocked if that happened, but I don't necessarily want them to. I want them to take 2K19 and say, yeah, we added some fun components to the game. We added some new match types, but you know what? When you do the final deletion match or whatever they want to call it, the House of Horrors, when you do this match, we could tell it gets kind of boring. It's cool that we have it, but it's missing something. So maybe 2K20 says, listen, we're going to take all these little things and turn them into big things and big changes. And with those big changes, WWE video games could very well be in good hands. So I'm excited about that, guys. And I think WWE 2K19 was the foundation. I look forward to producing more WWE 2K19 content on the channel. And that is my honest truth. I think the game had a very rough start. I don't think the marketing, got people excited for too long, but I feel like that small little bit of excitement is what shifted people's reaction to 2K, especially for creators. People that make YouTube videos, they were not sure if this was going to be a year which they could produce content. And we're starting to see some of the best content in pro wrestling games. In my personal opinion, we're starting to see that now. So I want to know what you guys think about WWE 2K19. We got a lot of cool stuff happening on the channel. My honest truth, there is some really good stuff. There's some bad stuff, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. And if you guys are a pro wrestling fan, get the game. I know there's been some crazy sales on it as well, so definitely look out for it. And if you guys want to buy the game, I'll actually put a link in the description. If you guys don't want to, you don't have to. You guys know how that thing goes. And last thing I'll say before I wrap up today's video, Destination Pro Wrestling is on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And on top of that, if you guys want to support the channel, all you got to do is click join. It's $4.99 a month. We're going to reveal a whole bunch of cool perks going into 2019 where we start producing daily pro wrestling content. So with that being said, guys, my name is Tony from Destination Pro Wrestling. Jeez. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. With that being said, this was my truth on WWE 2K19. Tell me yours down below. I'll see you guys next time.